Oymyakon and Yakutsk are known as the coldest inhabited settlements on Earth. Remote villages in Siberia, frozen for at least 8 months every year. From a distance, this land looks almost uninhabited, as if life itself abandoned it, driven away by the cold. In Oymyakon, low temperature doesn't just sting the skin. It feels like it burns the fingertips. The cold touches everything: people, animals, even things that are supposed to be lifeless. Phones often shut down without warning. A vehicle left outside can freeze solid in a matter of hours, and crops are nearly impossible to grow because the ground stays frozen all year. The journey begins with a flight east from Moscow to Yakutsk, about 7 hours in the air. Then comes the road, hours and hours across Siberia, toward a village where temperatures can reach -60 degrees Celsius. It feels like stepping onto another world. About 800 residents live scattered across an area of 1.5 square kilometers. Human activity outside the home is rare. Here, the ground is permanent permafrost, reaching hundreds of meters deep. To survive, the village depends on a centralized heating system fueled by coal. Heat is delivered to every home through a network of pipes. This system cannot stop, not even briefly. In a place like this, a small failure can become a lethal disaster. Days in Oymyakon begin early, even when the sun won't rise until around 10 a.m. While darkness still covers the village, life is already moving inside the homes. Inside, a single room often serves many roles at once: a living space, a storage space, and a natural refrigerator. Rooms without heating are used strategically to protect food from the extreme air outside. Breakfast becomes a serious moment. High-calorie food is not indulgence here, it is fuel. Oily pancakes with jam are common, a way to store energy for the hours ahead. Daily temperatures often sit between -50 degrees Celsius and -60 degrees Celsius, and the body works constantly to hold its own heat, especially in the morning, after long hours of stillness through the night. Fatty foods are chosen for a reason. They release energy slowly, keeping internal warmth alive for longer. Clean water is another battle. Permafrost makes water pipes nearly impossible to install, so residents go to the river, not for liquid, but for ice. Large blocks of ice, around 30 kilograms, are cut directly from the frozen river. They are pulled home on a snow sled, stored in cold spaces or outside. Before use, the outer layer is scraped away to reduce contamination. When needed, the ice is melted slowly in a large barrel until it becomes water. A simple method, exhausting, but it keeps clean water within reach in one of the harshest environments on Earth.
Bu tong soga, elbeh kihi silagin illar, suohur tong halbar buallagina mikraptar da ololordi, onogo tongu uta innehitten suruk taha arar uti. Min tongu muastah ubelemni irge daim kunsain atnasain ke ede won bir kununen birde. Tongu uta taha arar onna salgiga tuhalah ti min sana abin. оннук у мінсана абимнга ихитардаах кипятить буалбакка да ихерге соп.
Winter in Oymyakon lasts almost the entire year. Only about 3 months bring thaw, and even summer feels brief. Even if water pipes existed inside homes, the water would freeze almost instantly. So daily needs, washing hands, cooking, depend on water that has already been stored. Basic sanitation infrastructure is absent. Showers and toilets are not inside the house. Small wooden huts, without insulation, are built in the yard as simple toilets, with no waste disposal system. To use them, people must dress in many layers and move quickly. Even a short step outside can be deeply uncomfortable and dangerous. In daily life, residents wear thermal layers, thick fur, and leather boots. In temperatures like these, modern synthetic clothing is often not enough. Animal fur traps warm air naturally. The inner layers hold heat close to the body, and the oily outer layer resists wind and snow. A thermal insulator and water-resistant, more effective than many synthetic coats. The soil of Yakutia, Oymyakon included, is not fertile. Organic decomposition barely happens. Vegetables and fruit become rare and expensive. Sometimes they can cost more than meat. Harsh climate and high transportation costs force a reality, a meat-based diet. Farming is nearly impossible, so livestock becomes the foundation. Residents raise Yakut horses and cows for meat, milk, and hides. These animals are not just resources, they are survival. Even cow udders are wrapped in thick cloth to protect against frostbite and to keep them clean. Because pipes cannot function here, cows cannot drink from a village water system. Every morning, they are guided to the river. They take turns stepping into freezing water and must move quickly before the cold becomes unbearable. This part of the river does not freeze completely. Warm water from underground continues to mix with the river flow, keeping it alive beneath the ice. This is the Yakut horse, one of the toughest animals on the planet. Oymyakon can only be endured by creatures that are fully adapted. And the Yakut horse needs no heated stable. It can survive temperatures down to -70 degrees Celsius. Day and night. Their bodies are shorter and more compact. Heat concentrates in a smaller space, reducing energy loss. They are thick, rounded and heavy, covered in dense fur. Their hooves are long and strong, allowing them to stand on frozen ground for long periods without injury. These horses are not fully wild. They are raised and maintained by people, not as mounts, but as food. Yakut horse meat is highly valued here, fatty in texture, rich in vitamins and essential minerals. In a land that barely knows fruit and vegetables, meat becomes the main source of nutrition. This is why meat and fishing both become central. Survival strategies across Siberia. In Oymyakon, fishing means breaking the ice that seals rivers and lakes. It is not only a way to eat, it is part of Yakut tradition, a social and cultural thread. At temperatures that can reach -50 degrees Celsius, ice fishing demands skill, physical endurance, and local knowledge passed down through generations. The moment a fish is pulled to the surface, it freezes. In Oymyakon, fish is rarely cooked. More often, it is eaten raw, in a tradition known as Stroganina. This habit is also adaptation. Cooking can damage vitamin D, fatty acids, and important enzymes, nutrients deeply needed in a region with limited sunlight. When fishing is not enough, residents buy frozen fish in markets in Oymyakon and Yakutsk. This is how nutrition continues, in a landscape that leaves no room for mistakes. Transportation here reflects the cruelty of the environment. Before modern engines, people relied on horses, cows, and reindeer to move across the land. Reindeer held a crucial role as transportation and as a source of meat, milk, and hides. Even modern vehicles cannot defeat this cold. A car left outside for 1 hour without the engine running can freeze completely and must be thawed before it can be used again. To cope, residents use jet heaters, or if they are lucky, a heated garage. Some people keep their engines running nonstop, for hours, even days. In Oymyakon and across Siberia, keeping an engine alive is not a habit, it is survival. At minus 50 degrees Celsius, fuel, oil, batteries, tires, and metal parts become vulnerable. Oil thickens, batteries lose power, fuel can freeze. Tire pressure drops dramatically. That is why taxi drivers and minibus operators start their vehicles early and let them idle all day. So the engine, fluids, and fuel system keep working in one of the coldest places on Earth. In Oymyakon, bathing does not begin by turning on a faucet. It begins with preparing firewood. Most people bathe once a week. Hot water is poured over the body. Then they dress immediately to escape the cold. This happens in a Russian-style bathhouse or at home, with water heated in a large boiler, then collected in buckets and basins. Some people do ice bathing every morning, but that practice is ritual, not daily hygiene. For Oymyakon residents, ice bathing is never a replacement for cleanliness. It is a symbol of endurance against a harsh world. In the end, Oymyakon reminds us, progress is not always about conquering nature. Sometimes it is about learning to live beside it. In deadly cold, people survive not because of strength, but because of wisdom, simplicity, and respect for nature's limits. From the most frozen place on Earth, we are taught the warmest meaning of resilience.